You know, I want you all to know that every Mother's Day, as I prepare this talk for you, I recognize that it is a day that is filled with lots of various kinds of experiences and energy. I know for some, it's just celebratory, and that's wonderful, but I also know that that's not true for everyone on this day. Mother's Day can bring a lot of emotions to the surface, whether it's because your mother may have transitioned or passed on and you may be missing her today, or you are maybe concerned about her health right now, or perhaps you had a complicated or painful relationship with your mother, or maybe if you long to be a mother and that has not happened for you, or if you gave birth to a child that you do not have a relationship with, this day can be hard. If you are grieving the death of a child, this day can be so hard. And just know that in all of this, you are being held so tenderly. And I just invite you to be gentle with yourself wherever you are in that. So, as I thought about today, what came to me this Mother's Day was that this was a Mother's Day for all of us. For all of us. The earliest meaning of the word mother is actually simply means to care for something, to nurture something. So whatever your gender may be, if you have experienced being a mother or not, we've all taken care of something. We've all nurtured something or someone in our life. We all know what it is to be a source of nourishment for another human being. So this talk is for you. This talk is for all. When we say inclusive, we mean inclusive. Because, some of the most nurturing men I know, some of the most nurturing people I know are men. My dad, Bob Hurley, is here today. Hi, Pops. Nurturing man. Modeled it for all my brothers and my sisters and I. And my mom is here too. Mama Peggy is here. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. So, the caring of things, the nurturing of things make them flourish. And when we nourish something, we can see even more clearly the beauty of it. The nurturing of ourselves, the nurturing of loved ones, the nurturing of our global family, the nurturing of Mother Earth, and the nurturing of our democracy will make it flourish. Are you with me? Nurturing, caring for. This act of nurturing brings great beauty to the human experience. And the universal spiritual principle that is closest to the idea of nurturing that I'm going to talk about today is compassion. They're very similar. They're like cousins, right? Compassion and nurturing. However, nurturing has very specific nuance, and it has within it spiritual tools for all of us. So this word nurture, it means the care and encouragement, the growth or development. Its etymology or root meaning are to feed, protect, and encourage. We need look no further than a preschool classroom or a preschool play yard to see our human instinct to nurture one another. Have you all seen those darling videos of the little toddlers on, running to each other and hugging? Or they've all gone viral. There's a video of one little cutie patootie crying about something, and all the other little 2- and 3-year-olds rush over to hug and love this little one who's hurting. This is our nature. We've just forgotten it. Do you remember Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood? Oh. Didn't we just all love Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood? Didn't matter how old you were. For those of you who don't know who I'm talking about, please, for the love, Google him. Oh my goodness. Fred Rogers told Pittsburgh Magazine, "When I first saw children's television, I thought it was perfectly horrible. And I thought there was some way of using this fabulous medium to be of nurture to those who would watch and listen." That was a very carefully chosen word, wasn't it? To be of nurture. And that's what I'm talking about today, how we can all be of nurture to ourselves, to one another, and to the world. So there was a man by the name of Devadatta. Devadatta was one of the Buddha's cousins, actually. And he assumed that because he was related to the Buddha, that, at some point he would be leading the monks. However, the Buddha treated his cousin the same as he treated everyone else. And his cousin took that personally, thinking, well, I'm related to him. He should be treating me better. Yeah? And so he got very angry, and then he became gradually wrathful, and he wanted to harm the Buddha. And so one day, as the legend has it, there was an elephant in the village that was prone to anger, and he slipped this elephant a tincture that made it violent. And as the story goes, the Buddha was teaching, and suddenly this elephant was let loose and came running into the village, and all the villagers ran and said, "Run for your life, run for your life." And just as the elephant was approaching the Buddha looked right into the elephant's eyes and with great calm raised a hand to touch this elephant. And the elephant went to its knees as if to bow humbly, because the power of the loving kindness of the Buddha stilled a mad elephant. This is such a rich metaphor on so many levels. It makes sense to ask the question for us, what part of our life may feel like it is a bit out of control, like there may be some sort of mad elephant in our life in some way? Feeling like perhaps it feels like something is coming at you. It could be an inner critic voice. It could be fear. It could be a habit or an addiction that's no longer serving you. It could be a challenge with a relationship. It could be many things. It could be many things. But whatever that may be in your life, the Buddha reminds us not to run away, but to turn to it with great love, like the Buddha, to face it with love, to nurture that part of your inner landscape that is coming up to be healed. So whatever that is for you, I invite you to turn to it, and you may even ask, what is here for me to know? What is it that is wanting to be healed within me that's showing up like this thing? Yes? A Course in Miracles says that everything is a call for love. Everything. Everything is a call for love. So the question becomes, what is it in your life right now that is calling for love? And just as we do this work, as you know, I like to start from the inside out. Just as we have an opportunity to nurture ourselves, to look inward, to ask, what is it within me that is calling for a greater experience of love? To be gentle with ourselves, to soften our own edges without judgment. Something that requires focus. The opportunity for us is to get clarity about this gently. The great teacher Thich Nhat Hanh said, looking deeply at any one thing, we see the whole cosmos. The one is made of the many. To take care of ourselves, we take care of those around us. And so then taking this a step further this idea of nurturing. We take care of those around us. So just as we're called to nurture ourselves, we're called to nurture our loved ones. We forget to do that sometimes, don't we? Mom and Dad, I am so sorry for every moment I ever took you for granted. There, I said it publicly. But I am. What a blessing to get to say that to you in this life. We have an opportunity, my friends, we have an opportunity to consciously nurture our relationships. We take them for granted. We don't mean to, but it's part of the human experience. I want to introduce you to Trudy Meyer-Givett and Gail Crozier-Pram. We have a picture, I believe. Yes, here they are, Trudy and Gail. Now you can see in this picture they're having some sort of radio interview, and these two women there are 97 and 98 years old. They were in the graduating class of 1944, high school class of 1944 at South Salem High School in Oregon. Some of you may have heard this story. I was blown away by this. And on June 17th of this year, they will have broken the Guinness Book of World Records for consecutive class reunions. Isn't that fabulous? I just want to meet them. So they will be celebrating their 79th high school reunion. 79 years. When I heard that, I was like, wait, did I hear that right? Wait. I actually had to look it up. It's true. It's true. But here's the thing I love the most about the story, and here's where the lesson is. At least it was for me. It was at their 75th high school reunion, when they were a mere 93 and 94 years old, that they decided as a group that it would be a wonderful idea to nurture each other during this time in their lives. And so now, instead of meeting every 5 years or every 10 years, they meet every single year. And we have a photograph of their 75th high school reunion. Look at them! 75th. And they're now looking forward to their 79th. In this interview, they talked about how important it was for them to get together to share their stories and their memories. It was this sense of community that has brought joy into their lives. Human connection contributes to our longevity. We know this. Science has proven this. For example, one meta-analysis found that people with healthy and supportive relationships live longer, and that these effects of community are surprisingly strong. Over the course of studies averaging 7 years, research participants with a larger and meaningful social network were about 45% likely to live considerably longer than their counterparts. So what this teaches me is that in a community like ours, a community of kindred spirits, a community of like-minded folks, all on this path together here at the New Thought Center for Spiritual Living, we contribute to each other's longevity. We're literally helping each other live longer. How cool is that? What a blessing. What a blessing. Because this is a community that nurtures each other, supports each other, uplifts one another. And you know, this idea of community, it's an opportunity for us to lean into, to look at the relationships in our lives right now that may be calling for more nurturing. What relationship in your personal life, in your sphere, right, in your circle, may be calling for more love? It could be with your partner or your spouse or a parent or a sibling or your mom on Mother's Day or a coworker or a friend or perhaps a friend you want to get closer to. How could you nurture that relationship this week? I invite you to think about that, Because it takes, as I spoke about last week, grace. It's love in action. It's a decision to nurture a relationship, to grow a relationship. So I invite you into that also this week. So nurturing ourselves, nurturing our relationships. But how can we then take this energy and this commitment out into the world even further? You know, Mother's Day, this Mother's Day, I don't know about you, but it's hard to not hear about the crisis that is happening with the migrants and refugees at our borders. And I thought about the mothers, the nurturers, carrying their babies on their backs. The average migrant and refugee walks over 2,000 miles. It takes 3 months. And this is all over the globe. It's not just here, it's all over the globe, right? And so recognizing this, you know, I heard a report on NPR that there are more babies and children under the age of 10 at our borders than ever before. And thinking about this, I thought, you know, there is such an opportunity here to nurture them in whatever way we can. 600 years after the Buddha walked the earth, another profound master of nurturing, Jesus of Nazareth, was teaching his disciples, and he said, "For I was hungry and you gave me food. I was thirsty and you gave me drink. I was a stranger and you welcomed me." I was a stranger and you welcomed me. In some other translations, it's "I was a stranger and you invited me in." The part of this story that I love the most, though, this teaching, is when his disciples then, and he says it's a long passage, those are just some of the lines, and then his disciples say, but Jesus, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you a drink, or stranger and invite you in? And it goes on like that. And then Jesus replies, and this is just one of my favorite moments in all of his teachings. He says, "Truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least," meaning the most vulnerable of my brothers and sisters, "you did for me." Oh. Whatever you did for the least of my brothers and sisters, you did for me. In our New Thought teaching, we understand that we are all deeply and profoundly, energetically woven together. And this connection is the divinity that we share, every single one of us. We share this same divinity. We are here to wake up to this truth, to learn to love more. And you may be sitting there thinking, well, yes, I agree with everything you're saying, Shannon. I got it. But what can I do about the crisis at the border? What can I do about it? I have some suggestions. Surprise. First, number one, and all of these fall under the umbrella of nurturing. Number one, we always, like in every class we teach, in every meeting we have, in every service, we pray first. We pray first, but that is not all we do. You're with me? We pray first. So when you see this on the news or you hear about it, I'm going to invite you to strongly understand that this is a prayer request just for you. And you have an opportunity to stop, whatever, just to take a breath, and on the breath, send love. On the breath, bless them. Whatever way feels comfortable for you, on the breath, surround them in loving light. Whatever that is for you, that is something that you can do, recognizing that the love that is right here is the very same love that is there. we have an opportunity to amplify it energetically through prayer. Number 2, give what you can. Give what you can. Here at the New Thought Center for Spiritual Living, a percentage of everything you give goes to very well-vetted organizations that are living our values out into the world. So you know that when you give here, we are contributing. And speaking of that, I sent an email to our beloved Reverend Sally, who heads up our circulation, our giving team. And I asked her if she would please, this next month, be sure that we give to an organization called Save the Children. Have you heard of this organization? They've been around for over 100 years. They are extraordinary. They are non-governmental. They are working on both sides of the border, working to support families who are fleeing violent regimes with humanitarian aid. They are extraordinary, and we're going to be giving to them. So that's one way. You can also Google, where can I give? How can I give? They're doing God's work, Spirit's work, and we have an opportunity to uplift in that way. And then the third thing is that this very week, this Mother's Day week, we are having on the 17th in the evening our next global collective. It's spiritual activism. We're having that meeting. It's a Zoom meeting. And so right now, just so y'all know, we have 78 people in that database, 78 people who have signed up and said, I want to participate in this. And I think that we could have 78 more, and then 78 more after that. Annette Nelson, who heads up that team, is going to be focusing that meeting on this crisis at the border and what we can do as people of love, people of faith, people of spirit, how we can support in the communities that we live in. So I invite you to go to our website. You can go to the spiritual activism tab, click on that. It'll give you all the information. And stay tuned here as well. I'll be announcing all of our different projects that we'll be doing. So this week, I invite you to first look inward. Always start with where you are. What within me is calling for nurturing? What within me is calling for more love in my life? Secondly, look right outside. What relationship in my life is calling for greater connection, greater love, perhaps forgiveness, or just greater connection? And third, how can I nurture the hurting people around me, the hurting people in this world? What can I do? Whether it's at the border or any other situation, there are many.